Today's video is about the Charleston shooting and the fallout from it, including the debacle currently over the Confederate flag and people flying it. If you prefer to look at pictures of cats, I guess this is where you tune out. So a few days ago, an incredibly disturbed individual called Dylan Roof, who it emerges, surprise surprise, was a white nationalist racist, stormed into a church in Charleston and shot and killed 9 people. He's currently awaiting a court case on charges of 9 counts of homicide. I could go into a whole rant about how the obvious fact of it is, you know, if it had been a black guy in a parking ticket, he would have got shot through the face, but that's a conversation for another day. What I want to talk about today is some of the incredibly ignorant reasoning that's come forward from people who are trying to justify the continued use of the Confederate flag, a kind of cultural symbol and an unofficial flag of the South. In particular, I really want to examine just exactly why a lot of these defences in turn are exacerbating the problem, and kind of perfectly highlight how these disparate understandings of what constitutes, you know, a positive or negative symbol have come to be. So the first and most common argument you will hear from people who like to use the Confederate flag is that the Confederate flag is a symbol of the secession from the United States by the southern states, and that in turn the secession was purely about northern aggression rather than slavery. You'll hear this term thrown around a lot. It's a very vague sounding term, northern aggression. So the reason the secession occurred was because the North was being aggressive. Nothing to do with slavery. Which makes, you know, perfect sense, if not being a little broad. So I'll tell you what, history's a very good teacher, and as it so happens, a bunch of the southern states, well, they pretty much had to, in order to secede, they had to proclaim it. So southern states issued proclamations of secession and justified the reasons why they were leaving. So I'm sure we'll find plenty about northern aggression and exactly what form it took inside those. So let's take a look, shall we? So completely at random, let's start with Mississippi. You gotta start somewhere, you know, so let's start with them. So, let's see exactly what form that aggression took. They'll definitely mention it. I mean, they wouldn't forget a thing like that, would they? In the momentous step which our state has taken of dissolving its connection with the government of which we so long formed a part, it is but just that we should declare the prominent reasons which have induced our course. Okay, excellent, just getting straight into it. Let's hear about all that northern aggression. Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery. Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of the world. Its labour supplies the product which constitutes by far the largest and most important portions of commerce of the earth. These products are peculiar to the climate verging on the tropical regions, and by an imperious law of nature, none but the black race can bear exposure to the tropical sun. These products have become necessities of the world, and a blow at slavery is a blow at commerce and civilization. The blow has been long aimed at the institution and was at the point of reaching its consummation. There was no choice left us but submission to the mandates of abolition or a dissolution of the Union, whose principles had been subverted to work out our ruin. That we do not overstate the dangers to our institution, a reference to a few facts will sufficiently prove. Okay, can we just hold up a second there? So, third line. 3 lines in, and it's already talking about slavery being the biggie. That's probably, I mean, Mississippi, those guys have always been weird. You can't spell the name of it without having to use some kind of, some weird anagram in order to do it. You know, they're probably just oddballs. I'm sure it's completely different. Let's see, what's...
Every flag over Charleston is at half-mast tonight. Except one. Except one. Every flag over Charleston is at half-mast tonight. Except one. You know which one. Take down your flag to half-staff. Take down your flag to half-mast. Take down your flag to half-mast. She is survived by her children and by her grandchildren. Her name is Susie Jackson. She was 87 years old. She is survived by her children and by her grandchildren, and her name is Susie Jackson. She was 87 years old. Take down your flag to half-mast. Take down your flag to half-mast. Take down your flag to half-mast. It will take all of the love in all of our hearts, but it will also take something more. It'll take all of the love in all of our hearts, but it will also take something more. Take down your flag to half-mast. Take down your flag to half-mast. Take down your flag to half-mast. And then take it down for good. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Everybody. I've had cause recently to ponder the Confederate flag, which is something I never really have dug that deeply into. Once I saw it discussed on the Young Turks, and I was partial to their anti-Confederate flag views because of the way that it was phrased and the way that they shaped the conversation, but I honestly don't care too much deep in my heart if a jolly buccaneer, some swashbuckler, stole all of the flags in all of the books and lapel pins and flagpoles everywhere and replaced them with Jolly Rogers, the pirate flag. I would be content. I wouldn't care much. My day would look the same. I would probably read about it in the newspapers. To me, it really doesn't matter what flag you fly, and it just seems to me as an inconsequential thing. But just other people, it's a huge cause for patriotism and jingoism and pride and national and cultural heritage and all these things. And that's the argument I encountered recently about the Confederate flag. It's Southern heritage. It seems to me like it might be time for us to let it go, though. Not like to erase it from the history books. You can definitely have Southern heritage, but perhaps to take the flags down, at least off the state flags. If you have a state flag that looks like the Confederate flag or has the Confederate flag somewhere in there, you also have a state bird. Put your state bird there. Put your state bird on your state flower and put a couple of state cuties around it and just have a sexy kind of Hawaiian feeling flag. You know, when the Berlin Wall fell, the USSR changed its flag and took down the hammer and sickle and put up a coconut. Now they have a flag with a coconut in it. That is undoubtedly not true. But you get my point, I hope. You know, if If you saw a swastika on a flag in red and black, you would think Nazis. Well, a lot of people, when they see the Confederate flag, think of slavers. Rightfully so. So why not take it down? And I guess there are pretty strong arguments against that, and I really don't care. If somebody wants to fly it, it doesn't matter too much to me. But I do understand how other people could think how wrong-headed that seems, and I have sympathy with those people, and I would probably take them down. That's my opinion on it. And that closes the matter for me. Thanks.